Smoke-free living. Good for business, good for health. For the past 2 decades, California has made tremendous strides in protecting its citizens from exposure to secondhand smoke from tobacco products. The newest smoke-free spaces are being created in the multi-unit housing arena. Apartments and condominiums are providing a new public health amenity that protects both tenants and property. Representatives of the housing, public health, fire safety, and public policy worlds are partnering to create change around the state. Why are Californians concerned about secondhand smoke in apartments and condominiums? What are the health effects of secondhand smoke?
The devastating effect of tobacco is underestimated because not only does it affect the heart and the lungs, but there's definitely an increase in the incidence of many other cancers, breast cancer, cervical cancer, pancreatic cancer. It affects the individual's health, and it has an adverse effect on society, and of that I'm sure.
After 4 years of rigorous scientific study in 2006, the California Air Resources Board declared secondhand smoke to be a toxic air contaminant.
Tobacco smoke is a tremendously powerful toxic air contaminant, and the California Air Resources Board listing secondhand smoke as a toxic air contaminant puts it on a list with things like diesel exhaust, formaldehyde, benzene, vinyl chloride, lead, cadmium. And smoke diffuses throughout the building. It gets through the holes in the wall that the plumbing goes through. If you have common ventilation, it can get through the common ventilation system. Leaks under doors, through the holes that wiring's in. And the levels of cigarette smoke toxin that can get into these other areas are considered high in some situations by environmental standards.
So a part of the danger of this seepage of particulate matter from tobacco smoke is that it could occur over hours, over a whole day. It could slowly seep up into a unit, an adjacent unit where there's a smoker. So these tiny particles could be in the air, and you may not see them or even smell them, but they're suspended in the air in your apartment for the course of a day. And so if you're there for 8 or 16 or 24 hours, you could be exposed for long term. And if this is happening day in and day out over the course of years, you could be getting a very significant exposure to this tobacco smoke pollution.
Let's look at some of the other areas that have influenced and encouraged this new trend towards smoke-free multifamily housing.
Smoking materials such as cigarettes are the leading cause of home fatal fires in the United States, killing both smokers and non-smokers alike. As a fire inspector, I see firsthand what kind of damage cigarettes and smoking products can do to property. This is a huge economic burden and loss to residential property from the damage caused by cigarette-related fires.
Is it legal to make apartments and condominiums smoke-free?
It is legal for landlords or property management firms to restrict smoking in their apartments, both in the common areas and in the units. There is no constitutional right to smoke, so having a no smoking policy in your apartment does not discriminate against smokers.
There was that, that small fear of whether we were going to be discriminated against smokers and other issues of that nature. But also as well, we need to look at the fact that it is private property, and it was very openly communicated to all the tenants. We mentioned to them that it was going to be smoke-free, and they were very happy about that. The majority of the families that live in the apartment complex have kids, and the feedback that we get has diminished any fear that we had on the onset.
How do tenants respond to smoke-free living?
I would like to tell managers about the importance of going smoke-free, that as a tenant with a child, it's extremely important. Just reading about while I was pregnant, reading about the the side effects of being exposed to secondhand smoke. Even in apartments that are painted over, you have a lot of the smell still in there. But no, our manager, when we moved in, said that the apartment complex was smoke-free, and that was a major plus for us in choosing this apartment.
The movement toward making apartments smoke-free is growing, even within the housing industry, for both large and small unit developments.
There have been several issues that we've noticed as a benefit since the communities have gone smoke-free within our portfolio of California and Nevada properties and the multifamily units. Many of those have related to the reduction in turnover costs with painting, changing out of carpets and linoleum, and of course the all-important issue of air quality with our air filters, which affect our HVAC units. Not to mention the secondhand smoke nuisance value has been reduced. We estimate approximately 40 to 60% reduction in our turnover costs, which hits the bottom line and is a dramatic benefit for us.
Organizations such as the California Apartment Association now have a smoke-free apartment model lease on their website, and the Sacramento Rental Housing Association is working with public health advocates on the issue of secondhand smoke in apartments.
For our part, we have engaged in an education campaign to notify and inform owners and managers about their rights and responsibilities regarding smoke-free rental housing. RHA will have information and educational resources on our website that will include a registry for owners and managers as well as tenants to find out about smoke-free apartment living. It will also have information about rental forms and tips on how to convert to smoke-free apartment living.
Smoke-free multi-unit housing is catching on all across California in both rural and urban areas. Some cities are passing resolutions such as Sacramento. Others, such as Belmont and Calabasas, have passed ordinances to protect tenants and save lives.
I guess I just have a certain amount of empathy for people that have complained to me about their inability to live in their apartment. I've had people who say they can't sleep in their apartment, they can't eat very well, they cough, they have asthma, they have various medical problems. And to me, that just doesn't seem really fair. So what we did is we decided to look at tightening up a ban on secondhand smoke. And after a lot of public meetings and a lot of discussion and a lot of conferences with attorneys, we decided that it was legal to ban smoking, to make it illegal in apartment buildings and condominiums, in multi-family, multi-story buildings.
This ordinance was successful because we brought in the stakeholders. We brought in the tenants, we brought in the public health advocates and the apartment managers. Everybody listened to everybody, and what we came out of that process was an ordinance that everyone was happy with.
Housing leaders, fire safety professionals, health experts, and policymakers agree smoke-free multi-unit housing is becoming more and more popular, and the demand is rising. Tenants are asking for smoke-free units because they would prefer the cleaner, healthier, and safer environment of smoke-free living. For more information on smoke-free multifamily housing and ways that you or your organization can get involved or receive information, contact any of the organizations below. They will be glad to get you started on your path to smoke-free living.